a really, really good position to try and claim that top 5 finish is Manchester United. And we didn't think we'd be talking about that, but for a few months ago until Michael Carrick came into the role. The Sunday Telegraph and the Sunday Times as well, they've both gone with a big interview with Bruno Fernandes. I'm from a family where card games are a matter of life and death. This is a big chance for Manchester United to cement Champions League football next season, perhaps an unexpected chance, for the reasons I mentioned before. Clearly, Bruno Fernandes is going to be key to everything that United do between now and the end of the season, isn't he?
He's been key to Manchester United since he signed, and I think there is a strong argument. You could argue that he's actually one Premier League player of the season for the impact that he has at Manchester United, the points that he wins them. And like you said, I don't think earlier in the season anyone thought we'd be sat here talking about them being in pole position, really, to land one of those Champions League places. Carrick's gone in there, he's steadied the ship. The interview in the Times and obviously the Telegraph is really interesting because quite a lot of time you interview these footballers and it's all about football, isn't it? And in terms of, oh, this is how I play, this is how many goals I want to score. But it was really about him as a person, isn't it? And we were talking, saying, is he really that nice? And there's so many anecdotes in there about people from the club or people outside of the club that he reaches out to and the amount of time he spends with academy kids, working with them on the training ground and stuff like that. And you really get the impression there that he loves Manchester, he loves Manchester United Football Club, although he wouldn't go as far as to commit his future past the end of his next contract. But he is, absolutely massive for Manchester United in every single thing that they do. He could still break the Premier League assists record. He's really close to that. So, it's been an exceptional season for him. And if Manchester United do manage to get Champions League football, which would be a massive boost for them, will be the reason behind it.
And he's holding the cards now suddenly, isn't he? Because of his form. He's got the rest of this season plus an option, is that right? Is that until the summer of 2027?
And there's talk that there is actually a clause in it where if one of the big European clubs comes in and they can trigger it, I think it's for £50-something million, and I think that might be in the summer, but that's just like chatter rather than confirmed. So they'll be doing everything they can to keep him at the club. There was obviously that interest from Saudi, wasn't there? And he came out and he explained, him and his agent, why he wasn't going to go there and why he's staying. And in the interview, it does say the reason to stay would be whether he believes in the project. And if he obviously is seen enough to believe that Manchester United can go on and challenge again, then why would he leave? He's been there for so long, and he won an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup as well. So I think he wants, if you've invested that much of your career to a club and it's become your life, then you could see why he would want to stay. And hopefully, if he genuinely believes that they can win the Premier League, then I can't see why he would want to leave.
Just on the project, Miguel, he was asked what will it take for United to challenge for the title. He said, difficult to say because we changed manager. We were building something under Ruben Amorim, and now we need to change. The club decided to change, and with Michael Carrick, we have this last spell where we've been great until now with the opportunity of the Champions League next season. So let's move it forward into the Michael Carrick situation. It's looking increasingly likely now, isn't it, that he will get the role full-time, not only because of how he's been performing since he took over, but also the candidates potentially that could challenge him for that role. Yeah,
I think that's exactly it. He's done well, and I think crucially he's stabilised the club. So after that, and given what they've experienced the last few years, it was actually conspicuous, I suppose, that Bruno Fernandes talks about how they were building something under Amorim, because it didn't look like it was going to be anything especially high with the way results were going. Whereas Carrick has stabilised it. Look, I've heard a little bit that maybe some people at the club would be interested in someone of Luis Enrique's stature if he was available, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And if they can't go big on Luis Enrique, then there's not many guarantees out there. I think that's a pretty crucial thing. Whereas in a world where there are no guarantees, Carrick and the team around him feel like they offer a necessary assurance after so much disruption.
The Star on Sunday, Dan, focus on the next game, and it is a big one, a huge rivalry, Manchester United and Leeds United, and a huge game, you'd have to say, not only for United, but for Leeds as well.
Yeah, I think it's a massive game, obviously, at both ends of the table. And, we touched on it in the last section, but, Leeds feel like the side down there that perhaps Spurs have worse form, but for different reasons, Leeds could easily be kind of sucked into that bottom three relatively quickly. I think that, one thing going for Leeds is there's no doubt that they're going to be up for this game. You know, it's arguably their biggest game. On paper, you know, Daniel Farke will have them well prepared. They've had a long time to prepare for it, obviously. And I think, yeah, it could definitely be consequential.
Charlotte, Michael Carrick had a say or was involved in the decision-making with regard to Harry Maguire and his new contract. So that might give us a clue about what Manchester United are thinking long-term. With that in mind, surely he'd be in the conversations about what the summer recruitment is going to be like. And with regard to recruitment, it's been the age-old issue since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club that, aside of the managerial turnaround, the amount that they've spent on signings that simply haven't worked, have we started to see a change in that, particularly in the last summer, where, by and large, the signings that were made have worked? And how important is it going to be this summer that they don't get anything wrong? Because they can't afford to, can they?
No, it's vital, and it'd be a massive summer for them. Obviously, they need to definitely strengthen in midfield. That's their priority of where they want to strengthen. And in terms of how involved Carrick's going to be in those discussions now, he's the manager. They've got a short list of players, but they've changed so much in the background in terms of the strategy, in terms of the technical director, the football director. Everything's changed there for a reason, and the idea is that that was set up and then the manager could come and go, not necessarily that they'd want that, but all that structure would stay the same. So a lot of the pressure is on those other people in the background as well to get that right. And you're right in terms of the hundreds of millions of pounds they spent trying to fix Manchester United's problems in front of goal from last season, and it's paid off, hasn't it? Because they've been a lot better. So now they're moving on to the next piece of what they believe is the jigsaw, is the midfield. But they do need to get the recruitment right, and the difficulty they've got is obviously they're in the market with Manchester City, say, for Elliot Anderson. So if you're Elliot Anderson, you want Champions League football, so securing something like that is going to be so much easier for them to sell the club. You still might want to go to Manchester City and work with Pep Guardiola, but all those conversations around selling a team are going to be so much easier if they do confirm Champions League football. But it's a massive summer for them, especially if, like Harry Maguire said in his interview that he did this week, that he believes they can challenge for the title again. But as Bruno Fernandes stopped short of saying what they need to be able to do that, and it seems to be quite a lot, even given their upturn in form. So, yeah, going to be an interesting last few weeks of the season for them.